Picking up from the theme last week of success habits, and we talked about positive mindset in the morning and mindfulness meditation. This is another habit to adopt in order to create success. Now, when I start talking about it, you may recognize a couple of the principles, and yet there's a surprise that sits within it. And that is, we've got to sometimes unlearn what we think we know, relearn afresh, and then continually learn as we go. We never arrive, we never stop learning. You hear people like Mahatma Gandhi and Albert Einstein talking about this, and this is to do with the way our brain works, and this is a difference between fixed and growth mindset. A fixed mindset being that we think our intelligence, our creativity, our ability to adapt and solve problems is limited or set. A growth one being that it's very flexible or fluid. Now, behind me on the screen, you'll see this is an Ames room, which was made famous by Albert Ames in 1946. And you see that when you look through a peeping hole of the Ames room, it seems like one person's dwarfed and another is a giant. And it's simply an optical illusion. When you look and discover how the room actually works, it's because the walls are slanted, the floors slanted, the ceiling and everything out of proportion. And yet, even though you even now know how it works, when you look through the peephole again, you will still see exactly what you saw before, which is somebody looking small and somebody large. And that is because we have a fixed mindset. Our brain is in dissonance, and to make sense of that dissonance, it kind of puts it in order and sees the world as it is. So consider that our minds work the same way with our limiting beliefs sometimes as well. We have habits of our past experiences and our schemas that also create sometimes similar fixed mindsets that limit the viewpoint we have on our world and what we can actually do to achieve success. And so I'm going to give you 3 quick ways to start breaking those fixed mindsets. The first is a very simple one, and that is as easy as start changing some of your daily habits. Something as simple as eating a new food, having a new experience, trying a different coffee, or wearing your watch on a different wrist can break mindsets in the brain and can increase your creativity and your divergent thinking by as much as 15%. The second one would be a masterclass up level of that, and it's time to take head on the things that you've been putting off. The things you've been avoiding. On the other side of that fear lies your greatest growth. And so the conversations you've not been wanting to have, the relationships you've been afraid of, the skills you're scared to try, the ventures you want to get into, find a way to give it a shot. And that ties into really the third one. There's a great book I love. One of my favorite authors is called Bryce Courtney. He's used to writing big novels, but in this instance, this is a small coffee table booklet called A Recipe for Dreaming. And he describes it, he says, when you're skating on thin ice, you might as well tap dance. Because there's a beautifully flawed execution, and failure is far better than a success planned in the comfort of what you already know. And really that's the thinking of growth mindset, is to tackle your world head on, take the things you're afraid of. I've got one more thing I'm going to show you. In order to do this, we're going to go outside. And that is, when I moved into my apartment here, I managed to murder my plant. So even though it went through the harshest of experiences, you can see this beautiful growth has come back on my jade. And that's because everything in nature is either growing or going backwards. And if you're not in a mindset of growth, you're absolutely going backwards. And so that's 3 tips to try starting the habit of a growth mindset. And that's the habit this week, the habit of breaking old habits. So we'll get that one loaded, and we've got more habits and success traits coming up in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for listening.